Hey Dana, what fight are you most looking forward to on this card? What's the question, kid? That's a shitty question. Fuck you. Don't ever come to my events again. How about the power slap card we got on tonight? Fuck you, Dana White. There actually are fun fights on this card. God forbid you could name anybody in your company that isn't champion. Uros versus D-Rod's gonna be a fun one. I mean, Jan Blachowicz versus Navajo, Stirling, old versus new guard. That's a really exciting one. Tofiq Musayev, Ludovit, Klein, Aleksandar, Rakic making his light heavyweight debut against Marcin, Tybura. I'm really excited for this card. Really excited. Maybe not. That might be a lie. But I am excited for this one. There are some fun ones in here. And let's start by breaking down Uros versus D-Rod, the main event of this card. A funky kind of weird main event because... So hold on, my bitches are texting me. A funky kind of weird one where, like, I don't know. Uros is a really fun, exciting finisher. The winner of this fight is going to get Leon Edwards. The winner of this fight will get the honor to slime out Leon Edwards. Obviously, Uros just fucking beat the snot out of Jeff Neal, literally. Knocked out Muslim Salikov. He's a kill or be... Bro, she keeps texting me. A kill or be killed fighter. And D-Rod, man... This guy was just in a Mexican prison hitting fucking potato bags for punching bags and, you know, eating ramen noodles all day and is actually sneaky old as shit. He's 40 years old. He's fucking old. But he did beat Kevin Holland before he went to jail for weed. I'm going to go with Uros in this one. I just think D-Rod is a little bit too old. Now, maybe Mexican prison D-Rod, you know, he's entering this new era. Maybe he just toughs this one out. His fucking weird boxing and shit works. But I think Medic is just too fast and too powerful. You know, he's a kickboxer who moves with his hands down, moves very well on the outside, can time uppercuts if you kind of try and take him down. Also, he's got like a pretty fun personality and some fun interviews overall. I do like this guy. Now, he is pretty bad defensively, and especially when he's moving back, he's very chinny and enters with a lot of explosion. But the thing that kind of works for Uros Medic is he gets away with kind of, you know, his reckless entries at times just because he's so fast, even if he's not great fundamentally with his defensive ability. Now, D-Rod, I don't really think you're going to get anything flashy in D-Rod's game. It's mostly basic 1-2s. He'll mix some calf kicks in there. He will kind of have this weird thing where he's blitzing in with hooks with his hips or punches, throwing punches from his hips so he can kind of leave himself to being countered badly and seems to slow down a little bit later in fights, but, you know, that could be an issue here. I don't really see... That really won't be an issue. What the fuck am I saying? This fight's going to go and end within 2 rounds. But, you know, he does have nice takedown defense, too. I don't really expect this fight to go anywhere near the ground. Like, Uros Medic is not engaging in any grappling. It's a weird one to pick because Uros Medic's chin is pretty bad. And D-Rod, I mean, credit to him. You could say whatever you want about D-Rod. I've been on record saying, you know, it's a travesty. Kevin Holland let this guy into the rankings. He doesn't really get finished. Ian Gary, weirdly enough, a guy with no power or juice whatsoever, I believe is the only guy in the UFC to finish D-Rod, but I just can't pick D-Rod. Too old. I think Medic is going to realize, shit, I need this win. It's really kind of a easy ranked win for me relatively, and it can kind of shoot him up the rankings, give him kind of an easier winnable matchup against like a fucking Bilal or a Leon Edwards. Next thing you know, in like a year, we're talking about Uros Medic possibly getting into that top 5. I think he's going to go for a KO early here and get a big TKO in probably round 1 or early round 2. I just don't think D-Rod is going to win this one, but fun one nonetheless. It'll definitely be interesting. Let's move on to Jan Blachowicz versus Navajo, Stirling, a fight that has major implications for kind of the future of the light heavyweight division. Navajo Stirling stepping in on short notice. I believe he was on like a 2-week drug and alcohol bender before this. I just can't really pick one. I think Jan Blachowicz is a little bit too crafty, man. Now, is there a world where Navajo Stirling comes out here and just slimes out Jan Blachowicz just because he's old and, you know, he doesn't look as sharp as he used to? Yes. But Jan, as of recently, was going to split decisions with Carlos Oberg. Could have won that. Took 2 rounds off Bogdan Guskov. You know, drew with Ankalaev. Split decision with Alex Pereira. He is competitive in every single fight he's in. And even with his injuries, I still think his leg kick game and just durability overall will hold up. Again, just such a strong leg kicker, calf kicker, one of the best, not just in the light heavyweight division, but in all of the UFC without damaging his kicking game can also take you down, has a grappling advantage in this one. On the ground, like I think there was a point where, you know, years ago, Jan Blachowicz was a little bit more diverse on the ground, but kind of now will just hold guard and I don't know, not really do a ton, but, you know, I do give him the grappling advantages. Now, Navajo Stirling, he's going to kind of be that patient kickboxer with kicks on the outside, can mix it up pretty well, moves his head, can mix into wrestling when he wants to get to the double leg. Now, the thing with Navajo is that, you know, you'll hear people talk about he's a guy who, you know, has power, but he is slow twitch, and I don't know, you just kind of question his overall finishing ability. Now, another thing that kind of, I would say, could make you lean Navajo Stirling is Jan Blachowicz has continued to look older. His counter game's nowhere it used to be. His timing is worse, and he's coming off of a knee surgery for this fight. But again, I think Navajo Stirling just doesn't deal with calf kicks great. I think Jan will just kind of kick a lot, unless surgery has just kind of completely deterred his leg kick game. I did figure he squeaks out a decision with this one with kicks. Maybe he loses if he's just getting taken down a lot, but I don't really think that's going to happen. He has good takedown defense overall, and he's the better grappler. Or he gets chinned, and I don't really even think Navajo Stirling has the power on the back foot to actually finish a guy like Jan Blachowicz, where he kind of has to do with that step / pullback 1-2 of Jan, the nasty leg kicks, and the body kick game of Jan Blachowicz. Ian Kutsalab also had success early in that fight before he just quit and gassed out against Navajo Stirling mixing in the wrestling. I just trust Jan a lot more. I think it's too early for him. I don't really know if he has that X factor power yet in this division, and I'll still give him props because he is an undefeated prospect, stepping up on short notice against a former champion and risking his undefeated record. So he gives props for that, but I think Jan Blachowicz irks out a decision. I think this has potential to be a pretty boring fight, which is a lot of calf kicking, guys kind of mixing in the wrestling when they want to, and just maybe kind of low output, but I trust Jan just a little bit more than I do a young Navajo Stirling. Let's talk about Marcin Tybura versus Aleksandar Rakic. Aleksandar Rakic making his light heavyweight debut, and I'm going to go with him in this one by early TKO. Marcin Tybura, I did the voice there, just isn't really crafty anymore. Seems to lose to anybody who has any real skill. In his last two, I think he's shown his age. Didn't really look great against Tyrell Fortune, and then died against Ante Dalia before that. He is fairly well-rounded, though, for heavyweight. Like, if you have any sort of jiu-jitsu, you get called well-rounded. But he is getting old, you know. Doesn't really throw a ton on the feet. Will mix in some kicks every now and then. His takedown game is where he just shoots in on double legs, grinds you up against the fence. We'll have some nice sweeps on there on the ground. But Aleksandar Rakic, I just think, is too fast. You know, really fast striker, blast kicks. Everybody knows his one highlight from the Reebok era over Jimmy, Manawa, whatever his name is. He's lost 4 in a row. You know, it's kind of been a little bit less active recently. Lost to Mirzakhanov, Big Ank. But his leg kick game, I just think, will win him this one. He also has a nice 1-2 that he could chain his kicks to his punches. And obviously, can he be chinned? I just don't think Marcin Tybura is the guy to do that. And Rakic is going to be very athletic for this division and ripped, just big for this division. I think he gets Marcin Tybura with like a round 2 knockout, and we actually get an Aleksandar Rakic non-Reebok era highlight reel finish. I'm excited for this one, though. I'm excited for Rakic, and maybe Tybura crafts some shit up. Let's go into Dusko Todorovic versus Robert Valentin. This is a funny one. A really goofy level middleweight fight, which is most middleweight fights. Highest level of mixed martial arts right here. Now, these guys were given 2 of the easiest matchups you could have possibly given them in their last fight. I think Dusko fought Jose the Blob Medina, and Robert Valentin fought LeBlanc, that random Canadian guy. Both of these guys, not very good. Now, Todorovic is kind of like mainly a grappler, and on the feet, he'll kind of just press you with jabs in the 1-2. In the clinch, he's working for takedowns, mostly from the double leg. Defense on the feet, not really great. Has like some head movement, and on the ground, we use ground and pound to get submissions. I just trust Robert Valentin a little bit more in the sense that I think he is more dynamic. He looks a little bit cooler, has nice calf kicks, really nice elbows also. His defense is also kind of shit everywhere, but I think on the ground he's just a little bit better, scrambles a lot, shoots any takedown he wants. Both, again, coming off of wins over dudes who just absolutely suck. I just think Robert Valentin's going to get an early finish in this one. I'm going to go Robert Valentin by submission in like round 1 or round 2. Again, this is highest level of mixed martial arts, unranked middleweight. It doesn't get any better than this. Let's talk about Vlasto Seppo versus Gilbert Urbina. Again, more middleweight slop. This fight is actually terrible, though, because if you watch Vlasto Seppo, This guy only throws hooks. His skill is so bad. It's Medina level how bad he is. And all of his fights are just throwing for hooks at full power, eating punches, actually can sprawl, but mostly he's just trying to kill you and wing hooks. The thing is, though, Gilbert Urbina also sucks. He's not good. He's very chinny. He's a grappler who thinks he can strike now. Bad footwork. You know, he'll shoot on double legs to kind of get to your back to get the finish. I just think he's going to get chinned. This is just middleweight garbage, this fight. You know, is there a world where Urbina just rocks him, sits down on his punches and catches Vlasto Seppo? Maybe. And also, he's fought UFC comp. I can say that for Gilbert Urbina, but he did. And, you know, he got nuked out by Uros Medic. No real shame in that. They're just both garbage. I'm just going to trust Vlasto Seppo just fucking bombing this guy with hooks. And you don't know if Gilbert Urbina is going to get up. Let's move on to Milos Janajic versus Noah Gugnon. I don't even know how to pronounce this kid's name. Both of them pretty fun finishers. I think this was added to the card fairly recently. What's it called? Janajic is like a more higher output kind of a guy who works a lot off of his lead hand with his jab and his left hooks. He leaves himself pretty open to straight punches and kind of sucks overall defensively. I think I'm going to go with Noah Gane. He's just a little bit more explosive, kind of a little bit more technical though, but he will get pretty wild and overextend himself. Does have nice body work and clinch work overall with his elbows. I just kind of think he lands the bigger ones in this, moves forward more, has also fought better comp. I'll go with him by like round 2 knockout in this one. Again, a lot of finishes on this main card. Let's move on to the prelims and maybe one of the more, I don't know, highly interested, highly requested fights. Ludovit Klein versus Tofiq Musayev. A lot of people wanted Tofiq Musayev fed to the Wolves, and he's going to get fed to the Wolves. Ludovit Klein, I love this guy. One of my favorite unranked lightweights to watch. And it's a beautiful fight because Tofiq Musayev is going to end up unconscious. Klein's a southpaw boxer, puts combos together great, so sharp in the pocket, great 1-2s, check hooks, has a lot of power in his kicks. Really good distance management as well. Also has very good takedown defense. I think a lot of his stats are skewed because of the Gamrot fight, but he is no, fucking schmuck on the ground. Musayev's a big power puncher, tight overhands, can mix in this takedown, stance switch a lot. Has a lot of weird fundamentals that kind of get him subbed on the ground. And we all know about the Bahamondes fight. Again, a lot of reason why people hate Tofiq Musayev is because of that fight where, dirty, I believe there was ball shots in that fight or eye pokes. Mostly the majority of the controversy around that fight is him saving himself from getting finished because he just repeated fence grabs, which were so bad. Bahamondes was beating Musayev up with that 1-2 before he started cheating. Ludovit Klein has a nasty 1-2. Klein nearly killed Bahamondes, was shooting on double legs, slamming him whenever he wanted. I hope Ludovit Klein flatlines him. I'm going to predict him to win this one by round 2 TKO, and everybody will love Ludovit Klein. It'll be absolutely beautiful. Let's move on to Michael Oliveira, cousin of Charles Oliveira, versus Oban Elliott. And it was nice knowing Oban Elliott. I've always liked this guy, a guru guy through and through. Just not as good as he used to be, now, or just in general. He's a rangy point striker, has tried to grapple a lot lately, and has nice long jabs and spinning back fists and can control position well in the clinch overall, but just not a ton of power and seems to get punished bad a lot at times. And Michael Oliveira is so long for the division. I think he's like 6'6" with like a 79-inch reach. He's so long, very rangy, very powerful, also patient. Not a dude who's really going to overextend a lot. A lot of jabs at range that he can use and then find his counters. Fades in and out of range very well. Can kind of be prone to calf kicks, but I think his massive reach advantage and just the depth touch overall with this guy will just lead to Oban Elliott getting beat up with the jab and then finish in like round 2. Also, Oban Elliott's wrestling probably not going to work in this one against a giant like Michael Oliveira, and also just the patience of Oliveira and the ability to line his counters up so well is just going to be money for him in this fight. And I just figure Oban Elliott will run into a punch where he blitzes in and just dies to some straight punch, and it'll probably be funny / sad. I'm going with Michael Oliveira by round 2 knockout. Let's move on to Mark Vologdin versus Borislav Nikolic. Nikolic, I believe, is stepping in on kind of fairly short notice for this one. I'm going to go with Valentin in this one. Something about him, and I don't really even know if he's the better fighter in this one, but he is so gritty that I just think he's tough to finish. I'm going to pick him in this one. He's a midget kickboxer who blasts kicks and uses speed to get into and out of range, switches up targets very well, is very durable also. And Nikolic is a very heavy-handed boxer who kind of sits down in his jab, wings punches in the pocket, throws very hard, man. Defense is not really that great, though, and that worries me. Bad head movement, hands down. I guess he has decent distance management, I would say. But Mark Valentin, another guy who also has no defense. So it is kind of a weird one. This fight will be very exciting. He did look better against Marinetti, where he was kicking a lot more in that fight. Didn't really do it against Sean Castaneda. I lean him, though, just because he's tough. And I really have no clue what Nikolic is really about. Both of them are not great defensively. Should be a fun one. I'm going Mark Valentin by decision. If there was an Adam Wade, he would be the champion of it, by the way. Bogdangrad versus Dennis Bazooka, the lost member of the Wu-Tang Clan. I'm going with Bogdangrad. He also has hair now. I know in this picture his hair, but he kind of looks like a lost member of NSYNC right now. He's got to get this. I think his pressure is going to be a lot in this. You know, he is very hittable, and his defense is mainly the high guard, but he's no real slouch on the feet, I will say. He can blast an overhand and hooks. He's mainly just trying to break you and get you to the ground, and really does a nice job chain wrestling off that double leg, so he's going to have a lot of success with the grappling in this one. Bazooka does have like a boxer wrestler background, but he just seems to get slept so much right now and is a very slow starter and doesn't really use his wrestling enough at the UFC level, doesn't really move his head, and his KO power is mad. It sucks that his name is fucking Bazooka and has real no insane power. I just lean Bogdangrad just because I'm not high on Dennis Bazooka, and he was hanging in there with Luke Riley before he got nuked, so I'm going to go with Bogdangrad by decision in this one. That's what I think. We'll move on to Mateusz Rebecki versus Kyle Prepolek. Another really fun one, you know. Rebecki's a wild finisher, bad fight IQ. You watch that Grant Dawson fight, you want to make you shoot your head off. He's a brawler, he's hittable, shoots in a lot of random double legs, has nice jiu-jitsu. He could chase a variety of subs on the ground. His just game is pressure. He's pressuring you nonstop, trying to break you. And Kyle Prepolek is a guy who is powerful striker, actually looked decent against Drew Dober before he got finished. Like, I do think Kyle Prepolek, even though he hasn't been great in the UFC, does have decent game with nice overhands and uppercuts, can kick with both of his legs, but he is kind of stiff and not super athletic and slower, and I think keeps his hands too much down for Mateusz Rebecki, and I think Rebecki will just kind of take advantage of the fact that Prepolek doesn't really have much of a ground game, not really good with his takedown defense. I think he needs kind of fluke a KO early in this. I just figure Rebecki will pressure with the overhand, land takedowns on the fence, and probably just beat Kyle Prepolek, in my opinion. Will be a fun fight. I think Prepolek might, catch Mateusz Rebecki earlier bad, but I just, again, figure over time Rebecki will break him down and just melt him with his power and his speed. I'm going to go with Mateusz Rebecki by either round 2 submission, or I'm going to go a knockout. Round 2 knockout over Kyle Prepolek. Nina Milicevic versus Haley Cowan. I'm going Nina Milicevic here. Haley Cowan, just not that good. She's a wrestler who throws 1-2 on the feet and just randomly mixes in spinning back kicks. That's like her fetish. And is just kind of looking to get you on the ground and take you down, but really just doesn't chase subs or have any defense whatsoever. Nina has weird grappling and a blast overhand and nice work in the clinch with big knees. And if you shoot on her, she actually has nice transitions and ability to submit you on the ground. Also has good knees and clinch work, as mentioned earlier. I just think Cowan has too many defensive holes and is on a bad losing streak that I gotta go with Nina Milicevic in this one by decision. I just think it's that easy. Moving on to Jovan Leka versus Alexander Popik. I think, who's the light heavyweight in this one? Popik is giving up like 50 pounds in this fight. It's absolutely insane that we're actually seeing this happen. I don't really think either one of them are very good. Leka's got a striking base, seems to be grappling a lot more recently, and he can be pressured the fence and taken down. Popik, why do they call him Pepelek? Popik is a light heavyweight fighting at heavyweight, short notice. I think he's fought like Jamal Hill, Dusko Todorovic. Is pretty boring, like very boring, kind of just stands in range and throws feints, only looks to counter you if you overextend. Could I see one where Jovan Leka just kind of like overextends and dies? Yeah, but he's more of a real deal heavyweight with sharper boxing and is also kind of the better grappler. So I'm going to go with round 2 knockout for Jovan Letko, or he gets like knocks down Aleksandar Popek and then works to his back and submits him. Let's talk about just the opener, Marina Spazic versus Stephanie Luciano. I'm going to go with Luciano on this one. Technical kickboxer, more UFC experience, has the grappling advantage, also a lot bigger than Marina Spazic with her length, and has a lot of nice calf and side kicks and can counter you with that lead hook and has good takedown defense and scrambling. But Spazic, I just kind of think she's too small for the division and not really fought any great comp and is just susceptible to being out-wrestled. So I'm going to go Stephanie Luciano by decision in this one. And those are my predictions for Uros Medic versus Daniel Rodriguez. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. I like Uros by Serbian Nuke. You're seeing it in the thumbnail. Let's go Uros Medic. Let's go the fucking doctor. From one doctor to another, the doctor is signing off.